Hello people, Feet here. In this video, we'll go over the event mechanic in Battle Brothers. So if you're amongst the BP dummies, this video is for you. And if you are a BP veteran, there are still a couple new events that you may be interested in. Alright, first let's go over how event works. Basically, an event can trigger every 3 to 5 days. And it can be anything. It can be good, it can be bad, or it can be of no significance. They can all be fun to read through, but today we are only focusing on the really good ones. An event works like a raffle. Each event has a certain amount of score. Right. This one has 5, right? That one, I guess you can calculate that, right? Yeah. So each event has a certain amount of score. And when it's time for the event to happen, all the events that meet the condition, right? The condition, this one has no condition, right? I mean, yeah, you just need to have an anatomist. But let's say this one, you need to have a warlock and or a hound, right? So each event has different conditions. And if they meet that condition, then they are allowed to throw in their tickets and see which one is chosen. So if you want a specific event to happen, if you want this event to happen, for example, you need to have low food. You need to have at least 2 dogs. And the more butchers you have, the higher the chance, right? So there's event where you can increase the score by increasing the number of background. For example, this event, right? If score is 5 for every caravan hand. So if you have 4, that's 20. So you need to either you need to make sure you meet the requirements. You can try to increase the score if it's possible, and you should try to minimize the amount of unwanted events. Right? For example, if I want this event to trigger, then I don't want this event to trigger, right? Because this event will throw 10 freaking ranges into the mix and ruin my plan. So because I have a caravan hound and I want this event to trigger, I will try to not have a raider or a nomad so that this event is disabled. Right, so you want to minimize the event that you don't want, and you want to maximize the event you want. You need to meet the condition, and the rest is up to luck. You just need to hope that your event fire up. Now, event isn't the biggest part in Battle Brothers, but it can be helpful. Also, it can give you access to really cool items and contents that if you don't know about, you won't get to experience after hundreds, even thousands of hours playing the game. And it feels very satisfying to actually hit the event that you want. At least for me, because I'm a gambling addict. Alright, so the wiki categorized the event by background. So that's the background of your brothers. So, you know, right, all of these. Anatomist can have events. You know, Sellsword can have events. Barbarian can have events. You know, all the background can have events. So they're categorized by background. Also, if the bros have different traits, the traits can trigger event too. And during late game crises, there can be a specific late game crisis event. During contracts, you can also find different events. And for different origin of your company, there will also be specific events, such as, you know, Davkul Cultist, like the new Anatomist, the new Oath Takers, you know, things like that. And also there are the events, right? And thank you to the wiki writers, by the way. Very detailed list here. I don't look into the game code, so I would be clueless without this. Alright, so that's how the events are categorized, but I will only show you the noteworthy ones today. But still, you should look through all of this to know what else are out there, and to learn the conditions of the other events, especially the bad one and the one that do nothing, so that you know how to avoid them. One event that I try to have every run is the Caravan Hand event. This one, right? That's the one I just showed you earlier. So the Caravan Hand improves the wagon and increase the inventory size by 9 slots, right? Happen only once per run. That's the cooldown. If the cooldown is like 100 days, then, you know, if you play 300 days, it could happen 3 times. It can, doesn't mean that it will though, right? But, you know, if it has this much cooldown, then it's only gonna happen once per run. So you need to have a level 6 Caravan hand, and the more Caravan hands that you have, the higher the chance. I usually try to get this event out of the way ASAP early on, because I don't really want to keep that many Caravan hands in the late game, right? So early on, I would hire 3, maybe 4 Caravan hands. Sometimes I would just get them to level 6 and throw them into the reserve and let them sit there until the Caravan hand card is upgraded. And do you need 10 more slots? You know, I think in a normal run you have maybe 170 slots or something. Do you need 9 more slots? Yes, you do. Oh, also you need to upgrade the card once from the retinue. That costs 5k gold, I think. So you need a level 6 and you need to upgrade the card once. Alright, that is the only event that I try to have every run. And it's quite easy to do too. Just if you have 3 Caravan hands sitting there at level 6, you will get this event at some point. And once it's upgraded, you know, it's out of the way. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Alright, next are the rare brother events. These are hard to find, but if you can find them, then they can be really cool. And you can play thousands of hours without finding them, unless you really pay attention. First is a new one from this Flesh and Faith DLC. Lindworm Slayer. So all you have to do for this event, right, is to have 2000 renown. Not reputation, but renown. Be within 3 tiles of a town, so really close. And, you know, have a free slot in your roster. So, yeah, and you need to pay him 5k gold. If you don't have 5k gold, then, you know, you don't have the option for him to join. And this event only happened once, so you won't get offered the chance again. Now, the Lindworm Sir is not guaranteed to be good, but he does come with the Lindworm armor, which is one-of-a-kind armor that resists Lindworm blood. Not the best armor ever, but, you know, cool enough. So the condition is pretty easy. All you have to do, right, is later on when you have enough money and renown, you just need to go to the town every once in a while and just stay there until an event fire and hope that is the Lindworm Slayer. Not much else you can do. Thing is, right, around cities there are many other events that can fire, so the event pool will be very big, right? So you will need some luck to find this guy. So good luck. Alright, another one is the King's Guard event. This one has been here for quite a while. It's from the Warrior of the North DLC. Happen only once per run, by the way. So, if you stand on a road in the snow, right? It has to be in the snow, but on a road. At some point, you might find a half-naked cripple who has really good stars and has extra 15 resolve on top of being a normal cripple. Now the cripple stat is quite horrendous, especially his HP, right? His HP difference, if he roll low, he can have 30 HP, but if he roll well, he could have 50. That's a huge deal. Attack 2, right? If he low roll, he's only 42, but yeah, max roll is 10 more. So, and the King Size is going to have 15 extra resolve, so if your cripple roll 40, you know, have 55. Right, he's going to be a cripple at first, with very good star though. Right, so if your cripple rolls well with his starting stats, with the good stars, he will become a pretty decent bro later on. But after a while, your King's Guard, right, After 30 days of finding the cripple can just randomly, right? Because there's no other requirements, right? After 30 days, this event can happen at anywhere and at any point. He can gain a ton of stats, right? That will push him into really high level territory. On my current run right now, my cripple is stronger than my lone wolf. So that's what you can expect out of a Kingsguard cripple that rolls well with his starting stats. Now, is it worth the effort to try and find this guy? Probably not. You know, it's really hard to find him, and it can be quite restrictive to have to go to a snow road every once in a while to find him. And right, also on the road, right, there are a lot of events that can happen on the road too, so this one will also be very hard to find. But if you get lucky and find him, he can be one of the strongest bro that you have ever seen. Okay, the last guy that I want to find you is a belly dancer. Now, the belly dancer is not hard to find at all because the score is 15. That's 3 times more likely than compared to, you know, the Kingsguard. And also the requirement is you just need to be near a southern settlement. Down there in the desert near the southern cities, the event pool aren't that big. It is a lot smaller. So chances are you will find the belly dancer pretty easily at some point. Thing is, the belly dancer is not that great. He's not the best bro ever, but he's guaranteed the dexterous trait. Chances are, you know, he will be usable. And there are many other events where you can find a bro, but they aren't any special and they are guaranteed to be good. So I'm not going to mention them. Okay, next I want to talk about rare items event. Alright, first one is not that big of a deal. It's a grave robber finds item. If you have a grave robber and a historian, you can find a named shield. Now, a named shield is not that important really, but an early good named shield could help you quite a bit with tanking lindworms and struts and, you know, big stuff like that. Thing is, grave robber and historian aren't usually my go-to recruits, so you know, and I don't care about name shield too much, so, you know, usually I don't really go for this one. Alright, next one is actually a new one, and it's a really good one. Fake Witch Hunter. Alright. The reward for this one is that you get a named crossbow. And the requirement is that you need a witch hunter. I mean, a named crossbow is incredible, especially early on. You can punch through any up to about 250 armor with a named crossbow and a decent crossbowman. So what you need to do though, right? You need to be careful because this event can happen day 25. And in order to not lose out on this event, you must have a witch hunter at level 4 by day 25. Or else, if this event triggers and you don't meet the requirement of a witch hunter at level 4, you won't get the chance of finding the crossbow, okay? And I have had that happen to me before, right? And I lost out on a famed crossbow early on. It's so easy. And after that, I make sure that I buy an early witch hunter, get him to level 4 ASAP around day 25, right? So try to go for this one if you can. Just buy a witch hunter early. And a witch hunter is a good background early on because he can be anything. He can be banner if his resolve is good. He can be a crossbowman if his range skill is good. And if his attack and defense is good, you can throw him into the front line too because of his special traits. Okay. Another one is hunting Hexen. Alright, this one is a contract event. So every time you do a Hexen event, there's a chance of this happening. I don't know the chance exactly, maybe 10%. So 1 in 10 you can fail the contract, but you can gain these, right? And I think the blue vial is the thing that you want to go for, because it basically gives you extra stat for your bro. It's just 1 written level, so 1 start in 3 places. But it's extra stats nonetheless. Okay, next one is an imprisoned Wildman. Alright, this also happened only once per run, and it has a lot of options. But basically, right, the best outcome is that if you have a monk, you can gain a wildman, a dog, and a falcon. And the requirement is that you just need to be on the road, right? That's all. Another outcome that you might want to try is just send a man in, right? There's a chance he will lose an eye, but there's also a chance, 80% chance that he might gain some initiative and resolve. So extra stat never hurts, right? Right. If you can tolerate the missing eyes 20% of the time. Alright, another event that is also linked to the monk is the holy water event. Monk can craft holy water every 40 days. It can happen every 40 days. It doesn't mean that it will though, but every 40 days it can happen. Score is 5 for every monk. So if you have, say, 20 monks, right, then it probably will happen every 40 days. But right, just have a couple of monks, probably one is good in your team. You might get 1 or 2 extra flasks of blessed water. Very good for some final boss fight like Monolith or the library. And monks also have a plethora of good events down the line, so you would like to have one anyway. Monk is not a great combat unit, so usually I just throw him in the reserve, right? Maybe get him a couple levels so that he can get back and bells. Make him into a second donkey basically to carry items and, you know, future events. For items, right, the last one is the Read Black Book event. Right, the Black Book, right, is the thing that you get from defeating the library legendary location. And you need a historian or a cultist. The historian needs to be level 2, or the cultist needs to be level 9. And the cultist need to be a original cultist, not a converted cultist, alright? So if you have this, alright, then either the historian or the cultist will become a madman from reading the book. Yeah, the mad trait, right, is a really good trait. It can be a bit volatile, but it grants you immunity against Hexen. And when you have a bro like this, right, you can just walk up to Hexen and slap him without any fear. In order to do that though, you would need a pretty strong bro. And historian aren't made for combat, so that leaves the cultist. So that's why I always try to find a really good frontline cultist to make into a madman down the line. Right. This event has extremely high score and the cooldown is very fast. So once you meet the requirements, you will get this really quick. Right. Once you read the book, then you can trade the book. Right. You need a mad bro to trade it though. You can trade it with either a legendary shield, 2 mysterious jugs that gives you perks, or you can gain a bunch of gold, right? And also the score is extremely high, so once you become a mad, you would get to trade the book really quick. Alright, a couple more events that are noteworthy are the Davkul event. Right, this can give you a legendary glimpse of Davkul helmet. And what you need is you need to have 2 cultists with level 11. And you need to be between 4 and 10 tiles away from a town. So, right, not too far but not too close, alright? And the campaign needs to be 200 days. Nighttime. Score is very low though, so it's not gonna be easy to find this one. And I don't know if I have found this event myself ever. So right, there's all options here, right? Most of them end with fighting a bunch of cultists, and I've heard that they are very strong. But if you have a cultist yourself, then maybe you can get it without a fight. But I haven't had it yet, so I don't know. And you can also get the cultist finale event, where you get the armor. Right, this is a lot harder to trigger though for a normal run. Right, you would need a 200-day-old campaign. You would need 6 cultists at least. And you would need one level 11 non-cultist, and that guy will be killed to make into the armor. Again, the score is extremely low, and you know, having 6 cultists It's not that easy for a normal run, though definitely doable. You can have a couple of strong cultists, right? And then they can convert others. Doable, but yeah, it's just so rare that I don't know if I have seen this either. If you want to play with the Davkul items, you might have better chance you playing Davkul Cultist Origin. They have their specific version of these that are easier to trigger. Alright, next up are the buff events. They can, the buffs event can give your bro stats or maybe good traits. So let's go through them real quick. First one is Anatomist. Anatomist for Splinter. Alright, so every 110 days, the Anatomist can give a random bro some melee defense. Now, is that significant? Not really, but it's there, right? Okay, second is Archery Stunt. Right, basically in this event, happen every 90 days. The archer background can try to shoot the clown background. And if they succeed, they can gain 1 range skill for the archer and 1 resolve for the clown. Right. And the chance to succeed is quite high because, well, if your archer has, say, 90 range skill, then he should have 90% chance. If he has 100, he can have 100% chance. And range skill is never enough, right? Because it's never 95% to shoot something. So the closer you get there, the better. And this can happen over and over again, every 90 days. So maybe 95% is not too unrealistic. If you are dedicated enough, your hunter could have 200 range skill. Okay, another one to improve your range skill is the archery contest. So basically 2 bros from any of these background can get some range skill or resolve. And each archer can do this 3 times, so that's 3 extra stats for them over here. Oh, I missed out on this event. Bower craft masterwork. So a bower can make a masterwork bow. And the masterwork bow is pretty good. It's not as good as a flame bow though, but it's better than a normal war bow. And flame bows are somewhat rare, so you know, this is the next best thing. All you need to do, right, is you need to have 1 quality wood and at least 2k gold. And the more bow you have, the more likely you can craft the bow. There's only 60% chance to succeed here. So, and it only happens once per run, so if you fail, you won't get it. But hey, there will be runs where you can get a master bow early, you know, and that could really help kickstart the run. Next one is Cultist versus Old Gods. Can happen every 30 days. Basically, your cultist will fight your monk, and the monk will lose 1 resolve, while the cultist will gain 2 resolve. Yeah, so if you have a cultist and a monk, the score will be 5. It will be 10, and it can happen quite a lot. So if you have a cultist and a monk in your team, right, and you want to have a cultist and a monk, the monk for other events and also the holy water and a lot of other events, and the cultist so that you can siphon the resolve from the monk into the cultist. Because of this, cultist is one of the best background for banner. You could potentially siphon maybe 10 resolve out of the monk in the long run. One thing to note about this though is that you don't really want your cultist banner to become the madman. You want a frontline cultist to be a madman, not the banner. So I don't know what happens if you have a cultist banner and a frontline cultist together for the book. I don't know who's going to read it. It might be random. So because the book event happen every 20 days, right? So maybe if it's random and the game choose the cultist banner to read the book, you might tell the banner to not read it so that next time you can try to read the book on the frontline cultist to make him into the madman. Next one is Supposed Witch. That can happen every 200 days. So basically, right, if you have a witch hunter, the witch hunter can gain resolve and initiative. If you have a monk, they can gain resolve. If you have a cultist, they can gain resolve too. So that's a second event that can happen again and again and again for a cultist that can gain him resolve. So, you know, add to the banner thingy, right? Alright, another one is a really cool one that I haven't had yet. Alright, something with a dishonorable. Alright, so Dishonorable was a pretty bad background. But recently, he has become better, I think. Right, so he has this one, right, that can trigger every 50 days, but it can only happen once per Dishonorable. So, you know, in the long run, your Dishonorable is gonna gain a bit of resolve, right? Make up for his low resolve to start with. And if you have a Dishonorable and a Deserter, right? This is a new event, by the way. The Dishonorable can gain attack and the Deserter can gain resolve, right? We don't care about the Deserter, but they suck. But more attack for Dishonorable, not bad. Dishonorable, welcome back. That can happen every 70 days, by the way. Welcome back, right? Can only happen once per run. And your Dishonorable can gain 10 to 15 resolve, 6 to 10 initiative, 2 to 4 defense, and range defense. So, right? That is almost like the King's Guard, you know? They get a big chunk of stat. Unlike the Cripple, unlike the King's Guard Cripple, who has pretty low stats, I think, to begin with. Dishonorable, if they roll really well, they can be pretty good already. And with the extra event, that can gain them resolve and attack. And then that event on top, right? They can become amazing. Well, if you see a cheap Dishonorable out there, you might try them out, right? If they roll really well, like with their starting stats, right? They can have 55 or they can have 67, right? If they roll 67, you know, high resolve, 80, 95. Yeah, it's really big gap here between the low and high roll. But if you luck out and you find a good Dishonorable, that high roll the stats here with good stars, right? And you try to give him the event that he needs, he can become one of the strongest, bro. Oh, yeah, Dishonorable can also learn from a Swordmaster. Right, that's the next event I'm going to talk about, by the way. He can learn some defense from Swordmaster. Also, right, the Swordmaster can teach an advanced noble or a Dishonorable some defense. Squire can be pretty decent too. Bastard I usually don't bother with. But this event is why you kind of want a Swordmaster early on. Early on, you know, they are worth the money. And they can help some of your bros with potential later on too. Alright, next one is Strength Contest, where two strong bros, you know, gain some fatigue together every couple days. But they can only participate here in this event 2 times though. So, you know, if you are already strong, then you might gain more fatigue down the line. So the strong is 10 fatigue, but it's probably more like 11 or 12, right? Later on. Not only that, right? The strong guy can also gain more stamina from the count tipping event, which happens only once per run though. If you are strong or tough, you can gain 1 more fatigue, right? That's it. So strong trait is very good. No, it's better than it seems. It's already good, but it's better than it seems. Okay, next we got the team player event. So team player will give half your team 1 resolve, right? It can happen more than once, every 50 days. But each bro, you know, other bros can only gain 1 resolve, right? They can't gain more than 1. So if you have a team player in the company, then your entire team could enjoy 1 extra resolve in the long run. Next one is an interesting one. Evil Artifact. Now, basically, when you do a deliver item contract, there might be a 5% chance when you pick the contract that this will happen. I don't know. Probably more likely to happen if you do a long delivery. I do a lot of short delivery and I rarely see this. But if you do a longer delivery, maybe you will see this more often. You can get a Crusted Crystal Skull. It's a double-edged sword, but you know, if you use it well, it can be quite fun to use. Alright, next is a mountain running. Okay, every 100 days, the score is pretty high. And you need to be on the mountain. So this is an interesting one, right? Now I avoid mountain like a plague usually. I only pass through them when I have to. But considering that there aren't that many events that can trigger on the mountain, and the score is pretty high here, you know, every once in a while, maybe you try to go up the mountain. There are a lot of events that you want to get around the towns, but out there in the wilderness, there aren't that many that you want. But this is one of the ones that you might, you know, look out for. So if you're out there and you sense an event about trigger, you know, the last event was maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and a new one is about to trigger, you might want to just jump on the mountain and just sit there until the event triggers and hope that you get this one. There's also a running around event. Yeah, a bro gain 1 fatigue. You probably have seen this one before, right? 1 fatigue is nothing significant, but hey, it's something, right? I don't know, every time I bro gain some free stats, I feel a little bit of joy in my cold dead heart. Anyway, let's talk about the trait events. So there are a couple bad traits out there that you can heal. First of all, it's ailing. Ailing recovers. Basically, a monk or a beast slayer can remove ailing from another bro. Yeah, so if you find a really good bro with ailing, know that he can be saved still. He doesn't have to have ailing for the rest of his life. Right, next is Dastard. Dastard is a horrible trait, right? Usually I don't have to deal with Dastard because I always buy really high-end bros, and high-end bros don't really have Dastard. But maybe there's a, you know, some low-end bro with Dastard. And in order to remove this, you would need a 2 guys, either with Brave or Fearless. And they can remove this at some point. Also, Insecure can be fixed now. So if you find someone really good, but with Insecure, you can find a Eunuch and hopefully fix that at some point. Right, the chance is not high, but there is hope. Another one is Drunkard. Well, the Drunkard can lose stuff quite frequently. It can be very annoying, especially when it's your fame item. But know that the event can only destroy item that is in your inventory, right? Not the equipped items. So know that your fame item that you are wearing are safe. And if you have fame item that you aren't using but you want to keep, try to put them in the backpack of the monk that is sitting there, just, or the caravan hand just sitting there waiting for events. Just throw them into their inventory and they will be fine. Also, you can become Drunkard. If a lot of bros die recently, basically, right? If a couple bro have died after you buy the bro, and if quite a few people have died in this entire campaign in total, then you can become, a random bro can become Drunkard. Wait, what? The score is the number of brother you lost in total minus 2. Wait, that's incredibly high. Oh my god. Alright, so some runs, right? I kill off hundreds of people. I didn't know that it was actually good. But if you want a lot of Drunkard, right, which is a good thing by the way, because Drunkard gives you damage, and damage is a rare thing to find in this game. Extra damage is hard to come by, you know. There's only so many ways that you can improve your damage. Either Drunkard, Killing Frenzy, Huge, maybe Executioner, and Mushroom, right? Those things. So yeah. And also Drunkard improves your archer's damage by the way, unlike Huge. But Drunkards also lose your archer 10 range skill. So yeah, lose 10 range skill, lose 5 melee skill, but you gain 5 resolve back and you gain 10% damage. It can be, yeah, 10% damage is a big deal. Sometimes it's the difference between leaving an enemy at 1 HP and killing them, and getting Berserk to kill another thing. That's why Drunkard is so good. And right, oh my god, I'm gonna kill more people now. Right, if I kill 400 people, you know, then the score would be 398. Basically what happened every 70 days. The whole team can be Drunkard. Beautiful. Alright. Okay, I can show you what some of my run, right? I usually kill off many bros. Alright, in this run I kill off only 80 people. I need to do better. Yeah, sad. How many Drunkard I get? I get 1 Drunkard, right? On my godlike Yeah, drunkard. I got a huge guy, then again drunkard. How? Like that's with mushroom and killing frenzy. You know, that's the best you can get. Maybe with executioner. Any other drunkard in here? I know there's another, I think. What? Not enough drunkard. Not enough drunkard. Okay, I could have hit more though if I kill more people. Yeah, alright. So I learned. I actually. Alright, good to know. Good to know that I'm supposed to be killing even more. And you just hire people and just throw them to the wolves every fight, basically. Okay, that was pleasantly surprising. Very nice. Okay, so a lot of trades have events, right? Some have good events. Many of them are bad, though. Say, pessimist is horrendous. So every time you win a fight, right? Every 35 days after you win a fight, chances are a pessimist brother is gonna trigger this. And every time a bad event trigger, it loses you the chance of trying to find a better event, right? So that's why you should avoid bad trades. I talk about that in my trade tier list. You can check that video out. Alright, next is some event that you really want to avoid, right? First is being too rich. If you have more than 30k gold, right, the bros might demand more pay. And if you accept their pay, right, their daily wage will all go up by maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I never let them. I never give them pay, so I don't know. But it will go up, and do that on maybe, you know, like 15 bros in your company, and suddenly you are paying extra 50 gold per day. If you deny them, then some of them will become greedy, and when they're greedy, they take more pay anyway, and the greedy will lead to other bad events too. So it's a lose-lose basically once this triggers. Good thing is the paymaster can prevent this from happening. If you have too much money, if you can control your money and keep it below 30k, then you don't have to worry about this. Alright, another one that you might want to avoid is actually the retinue slot event. This, right, can happen at any time you open up a slot. And I'm not sure if it takes away the place of another event, or it's just an extra, you know, notification that pops up. So, but from my experience, I think it takes away from another event, right? So you don't want this to trigger. So the way to prevent this is to keep your eyes on your retinue slots, right? On the renown. And the moment a slot open up, you want to hire someone right away. Don't let them remind you of this and take away an event from you. Okay, by the way, let's talk about Cultist, right? Let's talk about Davkul Cultist. Because Davkul Cultist is a very event-heavy company. They rely a lot on events. So basically, Davkul Cultist revolves around this event. The Cultist Orange Sacrifice happen every 21 days. And that's how you gain those, right? And your bros get so many benefits. And the score is pretty high too. So you need to be prepared for this though, right? So they will choose out of 2 bros, 2 lowest level bro, I think, to sacrifice. When you sacrifice, your cultist will get good mood, but non-cultists will get bad mood. So you need to prepare for the mood hit when you are playing this. Make sure your mood is high to begin with, so when you take a mood hit, they won't be too bad. You can do that by early on by chaining your ambition to keep your mood high, or fighting constantly and winning constantly so that your mood is always high. Otherwise, you might want to have some happy powder in the backpack, like for emergency when people get really upset. Alright, so because they sacrifice 2 of your lowest level bros, right? 2 random bros with out of 4 with the least XP. So basically what you want to do with this is you want to have 3 level 1 cultists just sitting there doing nothing, just being sacrificed. That's because, right, you don't want non-cultists in there because you want to actually convert the non-cultists. You want the non-cultists to be the good ones that you want to convert. So you don't want to accidentally convert your sacrifice non-cultist. So that's why the sacrifice should all be cultists. You should have 3 cultists in the reserve. And because you have 3 cultists, right? And when they choose 2 random bros, even if one of the 2 is a good bro, right? You always can choose the sacrifice cultist to sacrifice. All right, that's the trick about cultists basically. So you want to keep non-cultists happy so you can convert them later, and you want to keep sacrificial cultists, 3 of them, in the inventory at all times. Keep your mood high at all times too. Also, right, a cultist can have really bad event like this. Every 15 days, the stupid cultist might make some of these trash helmets into a hood. You do not want this to happen at all. So you want to try to not have any of these in your inventory. Every couple of days, cultists might join you. All right. Also, this one, do not have any of these, right, in your inventory. Try to sell them away ASAP, or try to, not loot them if you can, so that they can't even trigger these stupid events. So yeah, your cultists will convert others. They can convert dumb, they can convert brain damage, highborn, they can convert dumb highborn, and they can convert lowborn. So you want to find really good non-cultists to convert, and you want to sacrifice other cultists, right? That's basically it. So right, recruit wise, I would advise to have a couple caravan hands early on for the caravan card event. A witch hunter early on to try and find the famed crossbow. Monks for events. He has a lot of good events that I didn't mention. Also try to have a cultist for either banner or madman, or maybe both. And the way you try to maximize your event. And this is something that I haven't done before, but I will start doing more now because I just realized how important it is to trigger event, right? So I am guilty of fighting too much. I try to fight constantly. I try to not give my team any rest at all. I would go do contracts, come back, turn it in, and then immediately move away. To try something out, to find something else to kill. And the thing about event is that they cannot trigger if there is some enemies around you, right? So if I'm constantly seeking out enemies and finding them, my event won't be able to trigger, right? If there's some brigand around, or if I'm pulling some enemies around, to bring them into a camp somewhere, then my event won't be able to trigger. If I want my event to trigger, I need to just not be fighting. So every couple days, or every 3 to 5 days, you want to, just go to the place where you want the event to happen. You are looking for an event that can trigger near town, you should go near town. You are going for an event near a road, you can go on a road near town, so you can trigger both of those, potentially. And if you are far out in the wilderness, and you know an event is coming out, and you know that you don't have enough time to run back to the bathroom, you might go up on the mountain to try to fish for the mountain running event. Or maybe go to the forest for some other event, I don't know. But yeah, be more conscious about when the events are about to happen, when it can happen, and which event can happen where, right? To try to maximize that. So every once in a while, take a little bit of a breather, rest a bit, right? And let the event trigger. Alright, that is it for the event here today. And I am playing a run, right? It's called the Homeless Run. If you follow me on YouTube or Twitch, you will know that we can't enter city to hire people or buy or sell loot. And the only way that we can gain bro is by events. So that's how I learned about the importance of event. Alright, if you are interested in such run, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch. That's all I got to talk about event here today. Thank you all for watching. I hope it helped. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will catch you in the next one. Video out. See ya.